What if the golden age of Hollywood wasn't as polished as the silver screen suggested? Behind the tuxedos, tiaras, and glittering close-ups, many stars lived on a pharmacy of secrets. Pills to wake up, shots to numb pain, drinks to fall asleep, and always a smile for the cameras. In this video, we uncover the secret addictions of 17 Hollywood legends and how their struggles shaped and sometimes destroyed their lives. Let's begin with Judy Garland, the girl who sang Over the Rainbow. At just 16, MGM worked her to exhaustion. Films, radio, rehearsals, endless publicity. To keep her thin and energetic, studio doctors gave her amphetamines in the morning and barbiturates at night. She performed through dependence, even collapsing after childbirth from withdrawal. Fired by MGM, Judy attempted suicide, yet kept making legendary comebacks. But in 1969, at only 47, she died in London, barbiturates finally silencing a voice that once carried hope to millions. Errol Flynn was Hollywood's dashing rogue. On screen, he fought with swords, off-screen with bottles and needles. After an ankle injury, doctors introduced him to morphine. He quickly combined it with champagne breakfasts and Cuban cigars. His addictions worsened after his infamous rape trial, and by the late 1950s, his health collapsed. At 50, Flynn died in Vancouver, the real villain, not a duel, but alcohol and narcotics. Humphrey Bogart's tough guy rasp became his trademark, but it was born from whiskey and endless cigarettes, sometimes 100 a day. Even a cancer diagnosis couldn't pull him away from the bottle. On set of The African Queen, he joked gin sterilized the water. In 1957, weighing just 80 pounds, Bogart died of esophageal cancer. His cynicism on screen had been matched by a lifetime of smoke and scotch. Tallulah Bankhead, loud, flamboyant, magnetic. She conquered London stages and Hollywood sets, but behind the glamour was a swirl of cocaine, gin, and morphine. Known for wild antics, even tossing a parakeet across a set, Bankhead lived without restraint. But addiction stole her health and career, leaving her voice gravelly and her body frail. She died in 1968, another victim of excess. Montgomery Clift redefined masculinity: sensitive, brooding. But after a horrific car crash, reconstructive surgery left him in constant pain. He leaned on Demerol and alcohol, masking agony and inner battles with his sexuality. Directors saw his decline: slurred lines, shaky performances. Friends tried interventions, but Clift resisted. By 45, his liver and heart gave out. Elizabeth Taylor, who once saved his life, mourned the loss of a man consumed by painkillers. Rita Hayworth, the flame-haired femme fatale, dazzled as Gilda, but off-screen, she drowned shyness in alcohol. Her drinking grew so severe that producers used hidden earpieces to feed her lines. By the 1960s, she suffered alcoholic dementia, later mistaken for Alzheimer's. Rita spent her last years often forgetting she was once an icon, a cruel irony for a star who embodied memory on screen. Peter Lorre's haunting eyes made him unforgettable in M and Casablanca. Yet morphine haunted him in return. What began as pain relief became daily injections. Colleagues teased his drowsy performances, unaware of the addiction beneath. By the 1950s, black market morphine replaced prescriptions. Lore died of a stroke at 59, his eerie calm revealed to be chemically purchased. Mickey Rooney, America's boy next door, battled not drugs, but gambling. At the racetrack, in hotel casinos, or midnight poker, he burned through millions. Even his marriage to Ava Gardner couldn't slow the habit. By the 1950s, he owed the IRS $700,000 and declared bankruptcy. Despite late-life successes, Rooney's fortune was gone. When he died in 2014, his estate was worth just $18,000. John Barrymore, the great profile, rivaled Shakespeare on a stage, but gin ruled his private life. By the 1930s, he was drunk on set, forgetting lines, even arrested in the street. He died at 60 from cirrhosis. Friends Errol Flynn and Raoul Walsh infamously propped his body at a dinner table for one last party, a morbid send-off to a life soaked in alcohol. Ava Gardner, the Southern beauty who captivated Frank Sinatra, relied on bourbon and cigarettes to ease insecurities. Her drinking intensified during volatile marriages and exotic shoots. By the 1960s, illness plagued her, but she never gave up the bottle. Ava died in 1990 at 67. Sinatra reportedly sobbing, "She was the one." William Holden, the rugged everyman, hid a river of vodka beneath his charm. Known to drink even on remote shoots, he became a functioning alcoholic. But in 1981, a fall while drunk proved fatal. Holden bled to death alone in his apartment, a tragic end to one of Hollywood's most reliable stars. Vivien Leigh, unforgettable as Scarlett O'Hara, battled bipolar disorder long before it was understood. Doctors prescribed barbiturates and alcohol, which deepened her struggles. Tuberculosis further weakened her. She died at just 53, a luminous talent undone by illness and self-medication. Clark Gable, the king of Hollywood, fueled himself with cigarettes and amphetamines, sometimes smoking 100 a day. By the 1960s, decades of strain caught up with him. After filming The Misfits, he suffered a heart attack and died at 59. Rhett Butler outlived him only on screen. Spencer Tracy wrestled all his life with guilt and whiskey. Catholic faith told him drinking was sin, but he couldn't resist. Katharine Hepburn tried to keep him sober, but diabetes and benders wore him down. He completed Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, then died 17 days later, a bourbon glass by his side. Buster Keaton, the silent clown with the great stone face, made the world roar with daring stunts and deadpan humor. But when sound films ended his creative freedom, frustration drove him to bathtub gin and near ruin. By the mid-1930s, he was hospitalized for delirium tremens, his genius fading under alcohol. A second marriage helped steady him, and in later years, television and even Chaplin's limelight brought a revival. Still, a decade of brilliance had been drowned, muted by the bottle. Bela Lugosi, immortal as Dracula, became enslaved to morphine after stage injuries left him in constant pain. Roles dried up, but his injections continued. In 1955, he made history as the first Hollywood star to openly admit addiction and seek treatment. It was a brave step that lifted stigma, but it came too late. Lugosi died the following year, poor but remembered for both his candor and his haunting screen presence. Elizabeth Taylor's beauty and fame hid a life of constant pain. Scoliosis, surgeries, injuries, prescription drugs and alcohol became daily companions. In 1983, she shocked Hollywood by entering the Betty Ford Center, one of the first megastars to seek rehab publicly. Though relapses followed, she later poured her energy into AIDS activism, proving her strength went far beyond the screen. Taylor dazzled the world with jewels and performances, but also left a legacy of resilience in the face of addiction. These were Hollywood's brightest stars, larger than life, immortal on the silver screen. But behind the spotlight, they were fragile souls, wrestling with addictions that no script could conceal forever. Their stories remind us that fame cannot shield anyone from pain, and that even legends suffer in silence. By remembering them honestly, we see not only their brilliance, but also their humanity. If you found this journey into Hollywood's hidden past moving, please like this video, share it with fellow film lovers, and subscribe for more untold stories. Because every reel of history has shadows, and together we can bring them into the light.